Wow. Okay, welcome everyone. Akasha here, and thank you so much. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to find me because this is something that happened to us several times now. YouTube starts a different live stream. Okay, thank you, sweetie. And we couldn't find it. It had no admin panel for us to stop it or to even say anything. So I know there were some of you over there. And I decided I'm just going to have Chris come when we start everything. But it's 10:10 a.m. where I am, so how divine is that? So let's go again. Yay! Lucille found us! Pardon? Okay. Yeah, I have these. I couldn't find my other headset. Thank you. Perfect. That was good feedback, honey. Okay, so I couldn't find my other headset, so I was clinking here. Hi, Lucille. Hi, Symphony. Oh, hi, Kim. Oh, good. Okay, so thank you guys so much. I don't know. Maybe we should have a little gathering and do some clearing and cleansing on the technology things. So anyway, the wonderful thing is we're all here together, and we're going to go have some mystical moments in Stargate temples. So welcome. Thank you for being here. I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you all so much that it was Thanksgiving in the U.S., and I think it's one of the most delightful holidays. It's actually a holiday about something really, really great. So the idea of just being grateful. And it is something that I struggled with myself because it felt like a duty, and it felt like an order or a command, and it felt like, I don't care if you're not happy. I don't care if you want something else. Be grateful for what you have. That's all you get. Now, that was my perspective, although I know a lot of people have that or have had that. And so one of the really great things, woo, yay. Yeah, it was 10:10 when I started, 11:11. Now we know we're getting it. We're getting it. We got Jamaica here. We're all here together. This is perfect. So I did create the sacred circle and our infinity healing chamber before you came. And so as we come together, I've already created that chamber. And so we're inside of it, which is always interesting. Like what's going on if we've already created the chamber, right? So tune into the energies, the guides that are calling to you. Because in my life, everything is alive. I was like this as a child, and I feel like that every day, every moment of every day. And so gratitude has become a part of my life, and I had to unravel the concepts, right? The programs within me that said that it was in some way giving up my power, or doing something I had to do. And of course, being grateful for things that you really like or you really want, or you're like, oh, phew, thank you so much for the pain relief, or thank you so much for the, for the bonus, or whatever it is. So here's the thing about gratitude. Ooh, that's a good idea. Thank you. We're going to take a peek at the scale, because I added gratitude to the scale of consciousness. Thank you, David Hawkins, for your beautiful tool. And we use it as a tool. I added a lot of different things to it. The thing is that it's a state, and something that's a state, when we're ordered to do it and we can't go to that state, exactly what do? We feel even worse about who we are, right? We feel that I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. How do I feel this? It's like forgiveness. Forgiveness is the emotional state of acceptance. And so all this work on forgiveness is putting work into your life and putting work in front of you. Fuck that shit. I don't want to do any more work. Okay. I want my life to be this magical fairy flow in every moment. So it can be even when I'm throwing up, right? It isn't that old idea that we do our spiritual work and then everything's perfect and Prince Charming or Princess Charming shows up and, we have everything we want the way our ego wants it. Our ego doesn't get to be satisfied. Our soul gets to be satisfied, right? Our soul is what we're here for. So it's okay. We're here to play the game. We've came in, we did a really great job. We've had a gazillion lifetimes doing this drama and burning and killing each other and blaming each other and not feeling good enough and doing all this craziness. And now it's time for us. A few years ago, I had this vision of making a journal or a book or a course or something called Yay Me. And at the time, saying Yay Me felt really like, ooh, there was a part of me that still was triggered, right? That still held that. I was very programmed not to be vain, not to think I was great. And yet on the other side, be as good as you can, be the best, why, you know, all of that. So those are the kinds of things that we're coming into harmony with. And the fun thing is that the sacred feminine, the sacred feminine principle, the idea of the sacred feminine that's been pretty much buried for a very long time after being burned and caged and everything else, is rising despite what's happening. And as it rises, in any way you perceive that, everything's alive to me. So it's Gaia and all of my divine goddesses and the jaguar spirit guides and all of these. And so what comes into our lives is different because we're not seeking it with our mind. So when you have a mystical moment, you're not doing it from a place of logic. You're not doing it because you learned ABC. But if you did learn ABC, and you accept that it's now downloaded into your human computer, then you just let go of, am I right? Am I wrong? Is this good? Is this bad? What is happening next? What do they think? And the conversation of everything and everyone that ever happened and so on. And I can't tune into it anymore. And when I get near it, it's like, and then I say, oh, yes, peace and calm, peace and calm. And I don't force myself into situations that are so chaotic, the energy is damaging, okay? And I know most people do tolerate this, don't understand how to extract themselves without being rude, and are in a process of understanding what is the optimal environment for you. However, we all want mystical experiences and we all can have them and we've all had them. I had so many of them as a kid, they were norm. It was like my life. And I didn't understand that. I had no context to explain it. Maybe you were the same, right? So one of the things we're going to do this coming year is the mystery school this year is focusing on the sacred feminine arts. However, what does that mean? Well, the more that I thought about, as I let everything come up through me, I very rarely read other people's things or stuff, you know, just enough to be like, oh yeah, because I want to be pure to receive. And yet there's information that would, validate, right? And yet as this rose within me more and more and more, it was like, whoa, this is so much bigger than we realize. So what we're doing right now is beyond epic. And I think about all the temples I've gone to, all the pyramids I've been in, all the caves I've been in, with sacred teachers, with sacred groups, mine and mystery schools and others. And all of these places, whether I realized it or not, I was so drawn. I moved to Europe when I was 9 and I lived there till I went to college. And I was just loved it. I loved all the old stuff, right? It was beautiful. I appreciated the art, but there was something else there. Again, I didn't have the language to explain the mystical experience I was having. I could explain, oh, this is so pretty, and everybody else standing there saying, oh, this is so pretty, and taking pictures of it. That's what tourists do, right? You go. And so we all resonate. We all feel. Have you ever been to a place where you didn't feel good? Where you felt dread or fear or claustrophobia or some strange sensation or something very familiar? I remember, I don't have a clue what it was, years and years and years and years ago. I think I was in high school. I read a book and it was about a woman went to England and was in an old castle and walked into a room and fainted. And it all took her back to a past life she had when she was walled in and left to die in that room. So you don't know, And you may know, and you may just sense from wherever you are to tune into not just your thoughts when you go somewhere, be on your phone, not be present, not just to the other people are saying that maybe you're with. Tune into the space. Maybe you're looking for signs and symbols. Maybe you say, yes, life is magical and I know it. And everything I need is here, and I'm here on a fully funded mission. So how could what I need not be right here at my fingertips? It is. Can I sense it? Can I believe it? Can I receive it? There are worlds within worlds. There are worlds in a grain of sand, and there's worlds within you, and there's worlds you're meant to create. So we are mystics that are waking up, and we can't wake up without the sacred feminine. And everybody, I don't care if you're in a woman's body or a man's body or any of the other versions that you identify with, everyone on the planet now, cats, dogs, tigers, birds, dolphins, everything, okay? The elementals, the water, the crystals in the ground and here. You know, the cool thing is wherever this crystal came from, ta-da, it's still connected. It's still talking to them. Whatever cave, crystal cave in Gaia, in the earth, is right here, communicating, live streaming. So any of these things could be a portal. If you're familiar with Harry Potter, which really kind of brought some of the idea of magic, they mix in a lot of fear and evil and strange old things, but it's the concepts of implanting that or bringing that forward in our world, in this moment, were key. So whether you are here to teach the entire world a whole new level of creativity or reality or self-love or self-acceptance, or if you're here to become something that radiates so much light, so much love, so much forgiveness, so much harmony, so much, right, what gratitude, that you transmute literally your reality through your aura, and you begin to radiate a completely different frequency that is like a projector playing a completely different movie, and then your reality changes. It's not that changes, it's that you shift to a different frequency. And when you see this, if you don't have the scale, get the scale, okay? So thank you. And yes, there is a gratitude sale going on right now. So check it out at the shop. There's also free stuff. So the scale of consciousness is there for you. There's also the chart of the rays of creation and other things, as well as the Mayan prayer of the 7 directions and other goodies that I find are very, very important magical tools for us. So one thing we are doing is raising our frequency, and we can tune into new realms. I was told by different spirit guides, I've been through, I don't even know how many ceremonies this year, 2 near-death experiences and many different epic out-of-body experiences. Out-of-body experiences are kind of normal to me. I'm sort of walking around like, ooh, ah, and I have to pay attention if I'm on the stairs or doing something like that. I don't drive. I don't have a car where I live, so it's awesome. However, there's also those moments, right, in your morning meditation, in your dreams. We're doing dream healing now. We're doing dream walking now. That was awakened in Greece. So when you go to ancient temples, when you go to, it could be a grove, it could be a cave. It doesn't have to be man-made. However, what happens after a period of time, people in an area realize that this grove, this cave, this spot has energy, that when they go there, they have a clearer channel to source, angels, God, nature, spirits, answers, healing. So all of those things are the same. They're communication. And in order to communicate, we have to open our intuitive channels. So all my intuition awakening courses, my soul star awakening, teaching you how to, go in and communicate and talk and travel with your higher self, your pineal awakening, your third eye, all of these things are designed to continue to give you tools to use daily to have this little exercise routine, activating your light body, sensing things, watching the breath come in, watching the breath go out, feeling, where do I feel it? What does it look like? Does it look like water? Does it look like purple? Does it remind me of something? And these are all opportunities to communicate, but you have to be in the center. You have to be the receiver. So the sacred feminine arts is a vast thing. I did start to look around and I thought, oh, there's a lot. I'm not stupid. I know that there's a lot of beautiful, incredible people doing the sacred feminine. And I'm doing it in my own way. I just haven't like focused in on it like that before. And what happened is that's that moment. So first, the mystical moments need to come directly to you. And they're amplified when you go to a sacred place. They're amplified when you go to a temple or a cave. Now, what's interesting is if you travel internationally, you know that, or maybe where you live, if you have ancient things where you live, other people built over them. The pyramid that I call my beloved, they call it the pyramid of the magician or the seer, is actually the pyramid of the moon. It's covered in moons. It's the sacred feminine pyramid. And it's round. It's very unusual, huge. And it's named thrice built because they know of 3 times that it was built over. But many, many sites are this. So when we were in Greece, we saw the same thing. There was a temple of Aphrodite, I believe, or Artemis. One of those 2 goddesses. So goddess of love, goddess of fertility, youth, and so on. So I wanted to go to all the goddess temples, and I do research. And then I do research here in the logical world, and then I travel. I go to those places. My spirit guides take me there. Suddenly I become aware of a particular god I never remembered at all, Asclepios, who started the first hospitals, who started the first spiritual healing centers, which is where we're going to start doing our dream healing. So when we go to Greece, part of the event is to prepare. And for 3 nights, I'm going to prepare you to go to bed in your own room. But they used to go to the temple and receive dreams directly from Asclepios and all of the feminine, I think it's 6 or 7 sacred feminine pillars or goddesses or essences of healing. And they came directly to you. And that's what we're going back to, direct spiritual connection, direct mystical connection. And in order to do that, you have to clear. You have to clean the pan. I used to listen to this beautiful Buddhist nun do talks, and one of the most profound things she ever said was very, very simple. And she said, you have to clean the pan first. No matter how beautiful it is what you put in it, if it's dirty, it will be this muddled mess, whatever she said. I'm not sure what she said. But however, the idea was not lost on me, and it's profound for me. And you want to take this into mind. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect and you have to clear and cleanse yourself completely before you can receive anything good. Okay, you know that's not true. But if I look at your energy field, I see, depending on what your spirit guides, your soul, your higher self, and all of that wants you to know, then they'll show me. Now, if one of my students came and they were doing a reading for you, they might see something similar, but they're going to see it differently because they're built differently. They have different intuitive channels, different wisdom and experiences in their past lives. And so as I looked into what is the sacred feminine arts, and I kept asking the question, and I'd write it down here and I'd type it on the computer, and then I'd walk around. And what happens? Suddenly things start coming in. You might call it a download or a vision. I'll see something. I'll come across something. I'll open, my phone, and something will trigger something. I'll happen across something. These are sign symbols, messages, right? Messengers, we call them. And they hold medicine. Medicine being energy that heals. Healing, becoming whole. Becoming whole is when you want to be in your mystical self, you want to have mystical experiences. I want to hear my higher self. I want to see my guides. I want to talk to my angels. I want to know what's the next best thing for me. I want to know, should I date this guy? Should I marry this person? Should I open this business? Should I say yes to this opportunity? If you feel buried and lost in too many ego questions, you know for sure you have to cleanse the ego. The mystical will come in and it will find a way. So if you've ever done plant medicine, you know it will find a way through your shit, and it can be very painful. It can be a little scary, and it can be, I mean, it's always super healing and super fabulous, okay? But in the end, it's how the experience unfolds. If you have a lot of fear, if you have a lot of judgment, if you carry a lot of beliefs still, if you're still burning yourself in hell every day, it's your choice. It's your choice. It's your choice. And when I see you, I see the real you, the true you, and I see the other things that are in your field. And sometimes it's a matter of, could you just step out of the bubble of the ego stories? And that requires unplugging. So it's a process. And the power in doing something like going to a sacred retreat is, for me, everything has to be sacred. So when you come here, we're going to have fun, and we eat and we love and we hug, but we heal and we channel, and I open portals, and we bring in information. And if we're kissing dolphins, they're talking to us and communicating. And if we're in sacred waters in a cave, we're communicating with those ancient spirits in the waters. We're toning, we're activating codes of ancient wisdom. You may or may not have been there in that cave or that place or in that culture when you were in another life, and yet you might resonate with the story, the resonance of the truth of the medicine of that culture. And so to me, I travel, I go to sacred places, I go to the forest, the pyramids, I go to Greece, I go to wherever, because when I do that, my mystical abilities amplify. And over 37 years or something of awakening in this life, and that doesn't include the years I was awake as a young child. And I don't include that simply because you may have the same experience. It's one of those things where you didn't have the context. You just thought it was normal. And then you thought it was bad because somebody told you, stop doing that. Don't be silly and stupid. There's no fairies there. And then you had love taken away and other punishments. So you finally just gave in and said, fine, I won't believe in magic anymore, or whatever. Right? So what we're doing now is, the sooner that you can put yourself a priority and your spiritual growth and your cleansing and your healing and creating your space and paying attention to the energy around you, and that you're feeding your mind and feeding your soul and feeding your environment and everything, you will access more realms, higher realms. And you need to do it in a way that's sacred and safe. And yet now you have allies, and now you have friends, and now you have access to information and to medicine, powerful things. And I'm like a mystery. I love mysteries. And so it's like, Asclepios, what? Who's this? I remembered all these Greek gods as a child, didn't remember him. And this time around, I'm, this and that, and Delphi and the Gaia and the Oracle and all of this. And as some of you know, then the dragons and the serpents came forward, which I'm a huge serpent fan. Wow, one of the most absolute wise, powerful essences of energy that we could tap into. If you can get rid of your programs and your conditioning that it's something's evil about it, because it is not. Everything can be used as evil, and that's using something that's healing and powerful and wise in an evil way by telling you that you can't access, that you should stay away from it, that if it gives you knowledge and wisdom, that you don't get to have it, and therefore you're a bad person. Like, fuck that shit. Sorry, I'm really being bad today. So when this came forward, there was this and then that, and then I don't know. Yes, I'm going to that temple. Really? That was what that temple was? I remember that temple as a kid. I didn't remember this god. And so then that awakens something else. And then you go and you dream. So Asclepios is helping us to come back into dream healing and dream walking, and those mystical experiences that we had when we were there in the temples, activating these temples again, activating these statues again. We even went into the ancient theaters, because to me these are sound healing chambers, okay? And they had perfect acoustics. Right? And so we would sit in different places, and I would stand on the podium and do an activation, and everybody was receiving and referring it out. and everybody's having their own mystical experience in their own way, while we're having a group experience, while we're tuned into the sacred place, and everyone and everything in the light that's relevant for our highest good in this time, through time and space. It's all existing in that same theater, right? Ancient Greek theater. That's optimal, then they're there with us too. So we can then go somewhere, like going to a gathering of ancient spirits, or not so ancient spirits, or future energies or possibilities, or you in many different lives. So one thing that's cool is, if you're familiar with Joseph Campbell, he wrote The Hero with 1,000 Faces, and he basically studied all the myths and cultures across the world. Fascinating person, learned so much, had so much peace and so much happiness and wisdom in his life, because he discovered the truth through studying the myths, which aren't myths. And he said the myths are guides, maps, for us to understand our soul and our purpose. The hero's journey says you're going to go through ups and downs. You're going to be challenged. You're going to have to break out of the old. You're going to have to shed your own old skin, right? You're going to have to access higher powers to help you. Every hero's story has mentors or gods or goddesses that give them tools or give them wisdom. They're partway in their journey. They think they're dying. Everything is ending. Somebody suddenly appears. They suddenly get that new energy again. They rise from the dead. They come back. They conquer. And they return to their ordinary world, no longer the same frequency, at a higher frequency, a wiser space, more connected. Nothing you've been through hurt you unless you believe it. If you said, what if everything was happening for my highest good in this moment? You're not accepting unacceptable things. You're accepting, I don't like this relationship anymore. This isn't okay. What am I doing here? I don't like this restaurant. This feels horrible. I'm getting up and leaving. I don't care if it embarrasses other people, right? You don't have to do anything in a rude way. You don't have to do it in a way. But you need to say, how can I amplify my mystical experiences? How can I open my channels? And the mystics and the shamans, and I studied with a lot of shamans around the world, they know that your chakra system, and this is just one part of your light body, right? These are portals, okay? And these portals are multidimensional, and they bring energy force, life force into the body. However, they're full of blocks and fears. They're full of the times when, you failed at protecting someone and they died, and then you died and decided that you were a bad person and you should suffer forever, or you should never love again because it hurts, or whatever. So we're full of these. Everybody's full of these. These are coming out. When you go to these places, you can increase your ability to tune in, and it won't be just when you're there. Of course, when you're there, you get bigger experiences, right? However, when you're in a mystical place, so whether you're near or you're going to a temple, a pyramid, even if it's an ancient temple of Artemis that's been built over by 3 other temples and a Byzantine church, this is one thing I saw. I first started out with my ego mind. Okay, the imbalanced sacred masculine feminine. And I said, oh, this is just so terrible. People come and they conquer you and they kill you and they take your stuff and they erase your language and they erase all this beautiful art and they don't respect this incredible wisdom and knowledge these people have, and then they build their stupid shit on top of it. Wait a minute. If everything is a cycle, and the wisdom and the time and the aligning of the stars and the energies in each moment were perfect temperature for cooking something, right? That time ends. So is it good that we've killed each other in the name of God all over the world? No. However, we just have to accept it. Otherwise, we're constantly on the lower part of the scale and we're fighting with it, and it's a waste of time. And it's such a waste of time that it sucks all of your energy and it sucks all of your abilities to tune in, because you're thinking and you're in fear and you're focused on low emotions and you're getting congested into your body and your aura. So the dolphins keep saying, you've got to clear your aura, you've got to clear your aura, you've got to clear your aura. Okay. And here's the thing. I love it now. I've totally accepted it. At first I was like, isn't the aura kind of an outdated thing? But then I thought, oh, multicolors, rainbows, rainbows, rainbows. And yes, they do work with rainbow colors, and that's always a great thing. However, the bigger picture is that I've just been shown that we're moving into a golden aura. And again, this is through me listening within to my inner authority, listening to these different gods, goddesses, crystals, beings, shapes, time, elves, fairies, whatever it manifests, whatever kind of shape, feeling it manifests is just for you. If it isn't a religion, okay? Religions are to control, and what we're doing is we are here to free. We are here to liberate. We are here to realize that if something's leaving our life, we say thank you, because there must be an underlying reason our soul has for leading us that way. Everything is leading you to become the mystic you were designed to be. Everything is leading you to become the, what do you call it? The clear and open channel, the oracle for your inner authority. Everything is clearing you to become the mystic. And the mystic is the part that understands that you're not just feminine, you're not just masculine, you're not just physical, you're not just spiritual or emotional. You're multidimensional, and everything is multidimensional. Even this statue has layers and layers of light body. It has chakras, so to speak. It sounds silly, but it's true. So let's take a look at the scale now. Here we go. We're going to go into a temple, and I'm going to share a few more stories of the kind of things that happen. So in general, what I want to instill for you is the realization that you're here and you're awakening. You are an infinite self in an infinite world, connected to the infinite field, and there is nothing that is kept from you that is optimal for you. However, most people are operating from the ego and the conditioning. And it doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. It just says that's not what you really want on a soul level. So today we're going to go and explore these mystical moments in a Stargate Temple. Now, one of the reasons that I've been enjoying rereading Joseph Campbell is because through discovering these symbols and the representation, what does this goddess represent? Right? Is it a real person? Isn't it a real person? Do you relate to it as a light, as a feeling, as a sense of safety, or strength? Do you see or feel a goddess or a woman standing behind you? Do you just sense flowing energies? Any and every one of these is correct because you communicate in your way. So he said that they knew that these were stargates, that they built these not because they were superstitious, stupid people, like I was taught in history when I was growing up. They were really dumb, and they thought if they didn't pray to the sun, it would go away. How dumb were they? No, they understood and saw the energy, and they could feel it, and it was pure. And they knew this is where energy comes from. It doesn't just come and feed the plants, it feeds you too. I go out every single day, and I make sure I have at least a moment with the sun directly on my forehead, my head, and I consciously say, I receive this gold ray download. I receive these gold codes, and I feel it moving through me. So he said that they knew these were stargates, and that they knew that they would take you to other places in the cosmos, to far off places that had people, places, things, information, wisdom, whatever you want to call it, that was optimal for you. That hasn't changed. You're the hero or the heroine in your journey. And the good thing that's changed now is this is us. We're here in a circle, and we're here in a sacred circle, and we're here at the portal, and we're here at the Stargate. And all of the ancient places I've been, especially the ones I've been to in the last 30 years, since I became an adult and was on a conscious spiritual path, I went in a sacred way with a school or a group or me and my beloved, or me activating, meditating, talking to the land, receiving information, bringing gifts, opening portals. And this is what we do in all of my retreats. So the mystical moments happen for everyone. And the fact that now I never thought of it this way. Okay. I was going because I could sense the energy. I knew what would happen. The doors would open. We'd go places. I would guide people, and it was amazing. People would come, especially here in the pyramids, people would come out of the activations. I would take people to the top of the temple on the equinox, do an activation as the sun came up. We were there alone. These are things right now we can't do. We don't have that access anymore. And we do other stuff though. That's great. We just already activated that. So we were activating that, and each person was having an experience. I was having an experience, but we were activating the land. We were activating the Stargate. We were activating the stones and the sacred wisdom in the stones. And we were freeing the pain and the fear and the bloodshed and the anger and the loss that are in these sacred places, because everybody got took over and told they were wrong and told they couldn't use their sacred places anymore. And they shut down the Stargates. And some of them were forgotten. Some of them were buried. Why? Why? Okay, we don't live it's not a conspiracy plot against us. It's just energy. There are energies that want to keep us in this matrix of conditioned fear, because it feeds a lot of energy into fear, and fear can easily manipulate and control people. And it don't get involved in that. Just say, oh, okay, that's half of the world. That's part of this. And this is part of this. What we're here to do is to say, thank you. I've played the game, appreciate it, got my wounds, got my lessons, gathering my powers. I know the gems of wisdom are here from all the pain I've been through. And now I'm going back to my truth. And my truth is I'm a mystical, magical woman in a body, in a moment in time of epic evolution where things are opening faster than we could imagine. And we can't look at it from the old way. The sacred feminine has to come in and rise, because we have to see things from a completely new mindset, a completely new perspective, a completely new glasses. We have to be connected through the heart. So if all the Stargates were buried, right, and they were built over with factories and progress, where did our mystical moments go? Where did our peace and our magic go? It went to the TV, right? It went to those few moments when we felt it. And now you can live it. And now you can be one of the people bringing it back. And now you can come from a place of knowing that you're here for a reason. You can't pretend you're not special anymore. And you can let go of all those things about don't think you're great and blah, bitty, blue, bitty, blah. Because you need to be your greatness. You need to stand like, this is my beloved here. So this will be Monday, but we are close enough to the full moon today, of course, that we're feeling her. And this pyramid that I'm standing in front of here is what I call my beloved. It's called Uxmal. And it's the site of the Sacred Feminine University, and I feel like I'm going to cry. So ever since I went there the first time, I was called from pretty far away. I brought a sacred group with me. I brought my Mayan, Mexica, and Aztec friends who do ceremony for me. And I said, come on, we need to go on this quest. We need to go on this magical journey. And we put together a van, and we were like the Scooby-Doo van, you know, the mystery van. And we came over here. And they're into the symbols, and they feel the energies. And we did the meditations, and they said they've never had that kind of meditation in their life. And we levitated. The bees were all over the field, and we levitated. And in our meditation, they brought gold, big gold balls like pollen, and filled our auras with them. Oh, wow. Now that's making sense. See, I'm putting together another piece of that picture. This was years ago. Wow. And we came here and we did these activations here. And this is where I was this last weekend. So I was going to put my sail up early, and I was going to do all these accomplishment things. And I came for Gaia's Crystal Cave. If you were there, thank you for supporting me. That was very profound. And I'm going to be doing another one. I just don't know when. And I went through many past lives where I was burned and burning and choked and smothered and on and on. And it was pretty intense, but beautiful and healing, of course, because that's why it comes up. So nothing comes up to wound you again. And if you react from wounds, you're not stepping into the power and receiving the gift, and it's going to stay with you until you do. You have to go through the rituals. You have to go through the rites of passage. You have to have the death. You have to have the transformation. You have to accept it. You have to realize it. And these are things that can happen on a sacred retreat with me, or in your backyard, or in your meditation room. Okay, but you have to give yourself that time. So you might just feel into this beautiful temple. So this is one of the ones that was built over. So what's inside? Like, I'm always like, what's inside? What's inside? And you can see 2 doors, and you're not allowed in up there. So I sit and stare at the doors. I take close-up pictures and videos of the doors, and I look inside as much as I can, and then I ask to enter. And then my ancient spirit of my some of my Mayan lives, as well as the spirit of me now and my future selves that want me to be using the information inside this portal, this Stargate, for you, for me, for the world, for my future work, for whatever it is I'm supposed to embody. So then they open that portal, and then the mystical experiences begin. So this last weekend we went here, and when we were here, my beloved can only handle a certain amount every day. He had a very, very severe seizure 4 or 5 years ago, and he's here. He's alive. Thank you. And I enjoy every single moment with him. And so he will come with me in the morning to the pyramids, and we were able, again, they closed it during COVID, to get into the other side of this pyramid, which has a courtyard of the birds. Literally, the birds come here and in the Sacred Feminine University courtyard as well. And I mean, hundreds of birds, and they go round and round, and they're giving you the most profound energy healing. They usually are weaving energy in our crown chakras. And so that happens a lot in our retreats, sometimes because it's always there, sometimes just for us. Sometimes the dragonflies come around and around and around us. That happened at a sacred wedding. I was the spiritual godparent. We were the spiritual godparents of. All these dragonflies came and were circling around us and the shaman. It was, it's all of these things happen. This courtyard also has carvings of birds. So this is very ancient Mayan place, and the carvings all over this building across from the pyramid in this courtyard, and all different birds in great detail. Birds' feathers represent the sky and the spirit. It represents when you reclaim your feathers, when you shed your skin, like the sacred serpent Kukulkan tells you to do, and you rise back up this pyramid to realize you're a descended God. You came into this world. You have pathways to remember. You reclaim your feathers. You become the feathered. And so the courtyard is full of spiritual crown awakening energies. And we found a sacred, beautiful spot. And we sat, and we were not bothered at all, and we meditated for hours, and it was epic. And yeah, it was, even for him, I didn't guide it. We do our own. But when you come with me, I guide it, and then I leave you to complete. So the realization that the sacred feminine is rising was what happened for me this weekend. Was that realization has been coming, especially since Greece, fast forwarded everything on that. However, here, I've always wanted to come back here with a group of women and open up that Sacred Feminine University. And the idea of coming here, spending a week or two here, like a campus, walking, sitting under a sacred tree, talking to an iguana, the guardians of intuition and the gateways to many of these sacred places here in this land. I didn't see iguanas in Greece. and they were taking me into the deeper chambers of this pyramid. So often what happens when I bring a group, there's another pyramid, the one I was telling you about, I would take people to, and the Atlanteans would often be there before we came. So during the night before, weeks, the year before, I'm going to these sites, I'm talking to them, I'm projecting there, and I'm asking the land to welcome us. And all night, the night before one retreat, I was waking up, I was sort of half asleep, and I was seeing the pyramid, and I was talking to the guides and talking to the land and asking for permission and just going through the blessings again and making sure that we were going to have our mystical experiences in alignment with our highest good. And we were protected and safe in every possible way. It doesn't mean things don't break down and you feel afraid or something. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being in alignment with right action, not forcing your ego, and not getting yourself into energy fields and energy portals that you can't handle or don't want to go to. There are many, many places in the universe to go, and you don't want to go there unless it's optimal for your highest good. And so I could see this enormous white guide sitting on the top of the pyramid in my bed. 2 hours away in my condo. It was like a big white blob, and it was just sitting there like a big marshmallow man or something. And I woke up in the morning and it was still sitting there. And I got in the van and picked everybody up and drove there, and I could still see him sitting there. And we got there, and the Mayan taxis whisked us through. These are little bicycle guys, whisked us through the jungle with the mists coming up. And the portals between the trees were shining, and there were birds, just so many birds giving us the most incredible sound healing. This happened in July too. It had just finished raining, and we were going through the jungle, and nobody else was there because it had been raining. And so we were alone, and the birds were everywhere, and we kept going, oh my gosh. And we kept looking at each other like, oh my gosh. And so all of the elementals, all the energies, the trees somewhere, the roots, always we find sacred trees as well. We whisked through the jungle, and I've got my heart open. I'm leading these people into a sacred and mystical experience, and I'm talking to the pyramid, and we arrive, and I walk through the trees, and I come into the clearing in front of the pyramid, and I look up, and I could see the enormous white guide with my physical eyes. So I give everybody an understanding, and we have healings and experiences before we go to the sacred places in our sacred home, wherever we are. And so everybody was ready for this moment. They knew that we were here for a very big moment. It was the equinox, which is a very powerful portal. And we know that when we climb these pyramids, that each step represents a state, a wave of consciousness that is the past. And so we can connect, thank it, gain our wisdom, and disconnect from anything that holds us back. Climb the pyramid, get to the top, and do my sacred welcome and everything, and start to channel the guided experience. And the Atlanteans opened the portal right in the top of the pyramid, and we went down a spiral staircase inside the pyramid. And it kept going through the pyramid. At one point, we stopped in a particular chamber, and we each received some kind of a color. This was quite many years ago, but some kind of a color treatment. I remember there was a lot of gold. There was like slabs of beautiful stone that people laid on, and I was watching as everybody had theirs, and then I had my own, and then that opened another portal, and we went down through the bottom of the pyramid into the land, and then it opened into a cave. And it actually, where we are, there's 300 miles or more of underground rivers and caves. And we went, and then we went in the river, and they took us to Atlantis. And everybody experienced differently. So we are having a mystical moment as a group, and the power of the group coming to a sacred place, which is a Stargate, opened. And what is a Stargate? Does it always take you off planet? No, it takes you through time. It takes you to other lives. Most people experienced a life they had in Atlantis, and I say a life because you could have had many. It was a good period of time that was so relevant to show them who they are now. One guy was a gardener, and he is a gardener. He's a landscape designer, and everyone received, interesting information, insights, feelings of who they were, how it felt to be them. This is how we change who we are now. We don't do it with our mind. We don't do it with our ego. We don't do it with fighting and forcing. Okay? We either come like this online and we create a sacred space, and together we go somewhere, which we're going to do in a moment. Or you go to a sacred place yourself, or with your beloved, or with a group. You come with me to Greece, or you come with me here to the Mayan land. You come with me to the Celtic lands and the sacred stone circles of the goddess next year. And you come with the intention, right, that you're here for awakening to your magic and for that mystical experience. And you trust that your inner self, and that you're listening, and everything's coming, and that your guide, like me or whoever you're with, will be there to help you interpret, to help you understand what you're seeing and feeling, to help you move through it instead of be afraid of it. There's processes, even through. When first time I went to Egypt, I had an epic and incredible time. I was there for 3.5 weeks. The first few days we were in a big ballroom, at the hotel, learning new light body activations and mystery school things. Then we went into the Great Pyramid 2 days in a row for 5 hours at a time. The first day we were in there, it was beyond epic. I can't even begin to remember and explain everything. Just going into that place is a Stargate. It's a portal. And we had 222 people. We did not all fit in the King's Chamber. They were in the Queen's Chamber. They were in the stairs. They were up there. And I sat against the wall, which is the stone which begins to vibrate, and everything in this pyramid is designed for ascension, and there's shafts that go to Sirius and to Orion, these stargates. And people have been there through time over and over and over, recently and in the past and in ancient times, understanding and respecting the reverence and the beauty of that spot. So the power there has been built on and built on and built on. Now, the time that you go in, the moment, the date, the year, what's happening energetically, cosmically, astrologically, and for you and the group you're with, have an impact on what you're able to access, what you're able to open. So again, the same way that an intuitive healer receives information differently, everybody brings a different type of key code to these places, and the stargates open different doors, or in a different way, or in a limited way, or in a more expanded way, depending on the group, the people, the event, the activation. And I don't even know what to say. There were people playing instruments. We were all toning, and we were expanding and sweating, and the whole place opened up. And yet it was like we were stuck. It was like we were, like you're just trying to like fly and you couldn't fly. And I don't know. My guess is it was an hour of this, and this is intense spiritual work. If you've ever done this, like constantly, you're just vibrating. You're clearing the cells of things, and the mystical energy in the place is working with you. Perhaps gods, goddesses, perhaps other masters, perhaps you in other lives, perhaps the crystals in the stones, the wisdom in the stones, perhaps, all these layers of conscious energies that exist. I call them spirit guides for lack of a better word, through multiple dimensions. So we're in a Stargate already, and then we're opening it, and we have all of these people there have their own particular key to a particular portal, to a particular energy. And we've come together for a collective purpose and a personal purpose. So the crossroads of mystical possibilities that happen when you come together with groups, when you go to these sacred places, you respect and acknowledge that other people have been there to do this. One point, Alton said, our teacher, Metatron came through him and said, "You're not letting go." It was really stern, not angry, but stern voice. "You're not letting go." And some other little, like a little lecture, like, "Come on, let go. Let's get to this now." And this is the power. Instead of being at home and doing, a 10-minute or an hour meditation, which you better be doing every day. So I'm not dissing that in any way. But instead of that, you go for a few days or a week or a few weeks. You're out of your element. You're completely immersed in the mystical experience. You've entered your hero's journey. You're now on a path. You understand your entire life is a magical path, that you've always been here on the hero's journey, that there's always been gods, goddesses, sacred trees, and all kinds of things. Even mentors, like Obi-Wan Kenobis and Gandalfs and Merlins and Gaia and all of these beautiful, incredible beings that exist and are willing to support the transformation. So this stern little push was so epic, because we were, raising energy. And the vortex was incredible. It was like, looking back at it now, I'm seeing like really red and orange, like, and I'm holding my crystal. We all have a crystal. I do this on my retreats as well. So we're connected, and we also leave crystals here that we've activated. So we take this energy home, and you have a clear line to every sacred place. So the mystical experience doesn't close. You now have the phone number for the mystical place and the moment in time that you were there that you can go back to, because it's a place. It's a place in time. Okay. It's not a thing that doesn't exist anymore. It's a place. And then bam, we let go. And oh, I remember he said, I'm going to bring up a giant blade, like a spinning fan below you, enormous, enormous, like a propeller, and cut everything and free you. So, basically get ready, because you're not letting go. So I'm helping. And I remember that, it's just like, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. And then bam, everything went dark and quiet. And we let go. And we were floating. We were in timelessness. No time, no space. And in the 3D world, we actually blew out the police radios and the power on the Giza Plateau. Now, this isn't the Giza pyramid that you're looking at. This is Uxmal, Mayan pyramid. However, that is the strength and the power of the mystical experiences. And they don't want you to go to these places. Most of them, they don't let you walk on them, touch them, and go in them anymore. And part of it is, yes, to preserve them, and that I appreciate that. But part of it is also to keep us from accessing these powers, because they can't be controlled. They can't be understood. So now let's take a quick look at the scale. So gratitude is the second highest state on the scale. Does it go above the scale? Yes, absolutely. People who come to my retreats and my classes, who I have you check yourself on the scale when you come and after you do the activation or the class. And of course, you always rise up the scale. And some people go way off the scale, and I do too. Many years ago, I had a dear friend, Al, and he did this spiritual workshop, and we went to it, and he was taught everybody how to muscle test yourself to see where you were on the scale. And so we tested, and I was way off the scale. I was like 1,500. So I said, Al, come over. Could you double check? And he said, why? What's going on? I said, well, I'm getting this. And he looked at me, and he's like, well, okay. And he tested me, and sure enough, I was at 1,500. So he just looked at me, and he said, well, okay. That was the first time that's happened to him. But don't worry about it, okay? The key is what is below 200, because at 200, you start to have power come to you versus you have to force yourself. So let's take a look at what we were talking about earlier. If you have natural connection to the fairies, if you used to skip along and talk to all of the invisible guides and the fairies, and you had magical friends, if you've had moments, well, I have a client who was literally locked up in an institution for not doing anything crazy, believe me, and it's an old pattern. It's a karmic pattern, right, that comes back. So you don't want to carry victimhood. You don't want to be condemned, hopeless, and despair. You don't want to feel shame, guilt, or blame yourself or anyone else, because you're wallowing down in these energies. You won't find the solution. You'll struggle forever. You can keep making your excuses to stay there, but it's just your mind keeping you trapped, gaslighting you like crazy. That's what the ego's for. It's not bad. It just is what it's doing. And as you rise up through these, you can see, well, regret is no fun, and tragic thoughts is no fun. And then you get to fear, and you feel anxiety, and most people live there. And then you get the frightening thoughts all the time. Oh no, what if, what if, what if? You're not open to a mystical experience. You're not open to guidance. You're not open to the aha. You're not open to the healing if you're stuck here. Now, the place most people get stuck is at 125. It's called desire on the original one, but I like the word desire, so I'm reserving desire for my soul desires that guide me forward after I've tuned in to the truth and made sure I'm not connected to my ego cravings. Okay, so addiction is the state. Craving is the emotion. You could be craving sugar, food, and then you eat, and then you feel bad, and then you crave more, and you're in a cycle of hating yourself and doing that. I've done that before. Thank God I'm over that, and I highly recommend getting over that. The desire disappointment loop keeps you enslaved. So the process of this state is being a slave, being a victim, being stuck, being shackled, and the perspective is denial. You're always denied what you want. How come I never get what I want? How come I got it, but then it went away? You deny yourself, you deny others. You see everywhere, you see the side of things that's saying no, no, no. Okay? And your mind is thinking disappointing thoughts. So if you think about gratitude that we've been bathing in this week, way up here, and the emotional body is receptive, this is the divine sacred feminine state. You have to receive. You can't create from nothing. You are the receptacle, the chalice, the vessel. You have everything, but you must receive love, a breath, whatever it is. There has to be a receiving. Now, compare that emotional state with craving down here at 125. When I get this, it'll all be better. No, it won't, because it's an ego want. It's not a soul want. Does your soul want things that would make your body and your ego happy? Of course. But that's where you get the clarity. You activate, you keep doing your work, getting out of it. All right? So versus regret, despair, blame, humiliation, craving, hate, scorn, you could just be receptive. What if you just decided, I'm going to be receptive? Or what if you said the mental state of gratitude is reverence? What is that? Well, that certainly isn't judgment. That's not demanding, antagonistic, disappointing, frightening, tragic, hopeless, evil, or miserable, which are all of the low states of the mind. Reverence is what I say. I enter this sacred space in reverence, presence, and love. So appreciation becomes your aura, and flow becomes your perspective. You're not denied, you're not punished, you're not being condemned, you're not any of those things in the lower perspectives. You're in flow. So gratitude is power state. And it isn't something that is a duty. It's something that's an honor. And if we can even get partway towards gratitude, the beauty of it will have an effect. Now, you could come into reverence, which is that feeling of, wow, everything's just so beautiful and magical, full of life and full of purpose. And even in the pain, there's this divine, tender beauty. And I have such reverence for me and for my life and for everyone and for the pain that everyone is experiencing and the sides that they feel like they're stuck on. And the appreciation will begin to come from you. It will fill your aura. It will create the reality around you. It will feed back to you. And then you will begin to feel like you are flowing. And you can access higher states of mystical experiences. So I decided to throw this out here, and it is the first of my Awaken the Inner Goddess retreats. I've wanted to do these for years as some place where I just bathed you in love, and we're doing it. So I hope you will join me. Just check it out. Go to the shop. Greece, the dolphins, coming up in a week. Black Friday sale, including this new prosperity magic. So the Sacred Feminine Arts, the Mystery School, and I realize there's a lot of sacred feminine arts out there, and I'm not going to be teaching all the arts. I'm not going to be opening the portals to all the arts. I'm going to be opening the portals within you. So this is the Sacred Feminine Mystic Arts. And that's the school. We're going to start in December with the Heal the Mother Wound as the portal to freedom. It's a 3-hour workshop. It's on sale in the shop. Then we're going to go into prosperity magic, and this is learning sacred feminine ways of prospering with the grandmothers and the other energies of magic. And oh, here's the Heal the Mother Wound, very tiny little thing there. That's Gaia. And then we're going to do, what's the next one? Oh, then we're going to have our Sacred Soul Powers class, which I talked about a while back. And then Spirit showed me that it needed to be put away, down, just set aside. So the school's going to open with the Heal the Mother wound in December. In January, we're going to do prosperity magic. This is a basic essentials course, like the energy cleanses course. This is going to be done in a way where you're going to have specific things. I'm going to pull this out and do it again. This is a cleanse or a healing or manifestation process, and it's all in the sacred feminine mystical arts. And then in February, we're going to do the sacred soul powers. And the reason we have to do these other ones is because this is going to set your inner world, your body, into that place to be more receptive for the mystical experiences that you're going to have as they bring you into this Stargate and this temple for this. And this is where you're going to connect to your other lives, your soul's past lives, and just to the ones that are relevant right now, that have a core wound with you, and that you can heal or they can heal, or you're going to heal together, and then you're going to gain that power. You're going to create a relationship. You're going to have an ally. It's like, getting somebody on your team who has experiences, wisdom, schools. Maybe you were a priestess in this, and maybe you were a healer of that. Maybe you were an artist of this. Maybe you were whatever. It doesn't have to be, but this is the mystic arts. And this is the rising of the sacred feminine. And this is you realizing that if you embody this everywhere you go as a Stargate in a sacred temple, I can open a portal or open space anywhere I go if I want to. And I always create a sacred space for me, because I'm not going in without it being the optimal space for me. So those are the kinds of things that I teach. So, we've gone so long. Let's do a quick check-in on you guys. Hi, Brittany. All that burning from within. You are doing so good. You are burning. Oh my God. I keep seeing you on the other side of this. And on the other side of this, you're just going to be like, oh my God, you're going to turn around and you can't believe how you were behind this wall of flames, just like, ow. And you get to the other side and be like, whoa. Oh, wow. So I want to be free from the burdens of the ego and jump into my arms. Woo, yay. Okay, Diane. Hi, Monica. I was showing slides. Hopefully you saw them. I thought, actually, did I show you these? Oh yeah, I was going to show you the temple, wasn't I? Okay, let's go back and I'll show you instead of my face. They're much more interesting to see the temples. Okay, here we go. I saw that writing and it was the wrong thing. So, okay, here we go. Slideshow, please. All right, give me a moment here to have a sip of my cacao. Okay. So every temple, especially these ancient ones, this was the temple of Apollo of the Oracle at Delphi, built on top of and next to the Oracle Rock, underneath the Oracle Caves, where all of the first sacred feminine messages came from, and the land, sacred, and Gaia's Kundalini is underneath, and therefore in this temple. So this temple is a Stargate that's quite stunning in the sense that it was used, and we know it was what it was used for, like it was publicly used over and over and over for divining messages from the sacred. So take a moment and let's come into this sacred space together. Take a deep breath in. Hold it and watch it. Where is it? I ask my ego mind and the fears that hold me from my mystical truth to wash away now. Let the breath go with this divine breath. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. Take another deep breath in. Breathe this temple in. Breathe this beautiful Stargate, the portals and these mountains and the caves and all of the mysteries and the truth and the light and the love that came through here. All of the support and all of the healing. Let it wash through you. I am that I am, and I am here in reverence, presence, and love. Let it go down and out of your feet, washing your Earth Star chakra. I call on Gaia through my divine body, and I call on my divine soul, the spirit sense of me that is divine. And I draw breath in from above and below at the same moment. Draw in from below in Gaia, draw up from your soul star. Meeting in your heart. Now look into this. The light comes down through the portals in the clouds. The rays of light of your soul. Let the breath go when you're ready. Feel yourself receiving from all of these sacred treasuries, all of these sacred buildings, all of these stargates to prosperous places, to prosperous universes, to prosperous mindset. All of these things you see right here, the treasury filled with value, beauty, love, wealth, riches, things that were sacred and gifted to the sacred feminine. The mystical experience for you here today is to receive from any place here. You don't have to know how. Just keep looking. You feel yourself blurring your vision. You can blur a little bit. Soften. Feel the light coming through the clouds. You can tell this is a very mystical moment. You can feel the mountains around you, Gaia's arms holding. You're sitting in her navel, right on her belly. You sense the caves around you and beneath you are filled with mystical beings, wisdom, medicine, messages. I'm ready and willing and open and receptive to receive through my mystical channels, to allow the frequencies of all these other dimensions to tune into my prosperous treasury inside the love and the belly of the Divine Mother. I prosper through love and I receive it all now. So you can close your eyes if you haven't yet. I don't have any way to mute without doing all that nonsense. So we're going to bring this gathering to a close here. I'm going to just share a few more pictures so you can tune into a little more magic. And then I feel Gaia is asking me to close this live stream and start another one. So I'm going to do a Gaia's Crystal Cave channeling in a few moments if you would like to rejoin me here on the channel. It is not announced, just came through me. And I feel like drawing a few of my new cards that if you're coming to my events in the next few weeks, we're going to get to play with our new cards. So this is the Oracle Rock. Through me, you can receive this incredible mystical power. The Oracle would sit on top of this rock. There's even a tiny sign that they have not fixed so you can't read it. And there's a rope. You know, I had to touch it. And I always go to most of my sacred places in white. And I make sure that I have certain stones. I have crystals in my bra, in my purse. I wear different symbols and jewelry for the power and the symbols. It changes depending on what I'm doing that day because these are mystical tools. These are divination tools. These are things that align you or assist you to have a clearer frequency to the mystical energies. It's here. People walk right by this and don't feel a single mystical thing. And even this, the Parthenon, oh my goodness, there's so many people there. There's no way to be up here by yourself. There's no way to find a spot where there's no people. And yet it was still incredibly profound. You walk through these gates, watching these people talking about their lunch, walking through these gates. They don't even know they're in a Stargate. They don't even realize they're walking in and out of dimensions, that I can see energies and beings around them, talking to them, helping them, trying to help them. So this guidance, these mystical experiences are happening even when people are oblivious. And of course, we want to be a part of them. We want to be ready to receive them faster, sooner, easier. So since all sacred structures are built around the world, are stargates, if you go in a sacred way, you'll feel it and you'll receive and leave key codes, key soul codes to ignite, guide, and support your life's quest. And these are places we're going to be going back to in May. This is one of the theaters I told you about that it seems like, oh, it was a theater. What's mystical about that? Well, just give it a try. Toning, vibration. Then we wander the ruins and we find these places that nobody knows about, nobody looks at. Where Amy's standing here, we were inside of the temple of the healing Egyptian gods, but we were in Greece. Believe it or not, that's the title of it, and they let you go in. So we went in, we did activations, we went to the altar. It was incredible. We got to sit on things, we got to walk through all the rooms in the fairly extensive temple. Didn't have a roof, okay? And then at the back corner, we were all drawn to this back corner, and we're like, what's going on over here? And this is the fun part, because I go, and if I go before us, then I know where the spots are that we're going to go to. Then we wander, though, and if we've never been there, we go and we're like, this feels interesting. We found in Delphi, we found this magical place, and I was like, whoa, 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 what's going on here? And suddenly we noticed that the stream was coming out there. The place that the oracle and the people who came to her used to purify, they've rerouted to the town, so it's dry and they don't let you go near it anymore. We found where it was coming out somewhere else. And we stood there and we talked to the land and we did an activation. So the mystical things aren't just in the formal activations that I do, or in the big temple, or in the pyramid of the king's chamber, because, that one launched something big for me. 4 hours later, we came back, realized that we were sweating to death. We had no power, no light, and we had to find our way out of the pyramid. If you've ever been in there, it's like climbing a mountain inside of a tunnel where you have to bend over. So that triggered huge fears and claustrophobia, and I had massive past life healings that went on over the next week at temple after temple, and I couldn't go. It was horrifying. It was great, but it was horrifying. And then I finally went to the Temple of Isis, again, another Stargate. And Isis is a divine guide of mine, been for a long time. And I had a profound healing. And this wasn't just a healing of my fear in that moment. This was a healing of lifetimes of fear, a healing of soul fear, a healing for people on the planet, a shift to a new level of not ever being affected by that level of fear again. And that's what you gain by going through the ups and downs. So when we come together and we're all activated, we're all walking around, we all feel and sense things. And everybody's having a different mystical experience. Someone's over here touching this rock, someone's over there doing that. We even got to go into the Asclepion in one site, and we will be going back there twice because we could access all the temples. There were so many goddess temples there. The headquarters of Isis was there. That was just being excavated, and I knew all about it, and they told me about it, and I went there and was like, oh, geez, look at this. We got to go into the temple at the altar of the Queen Mycenae goddess of Asclepion, the healer. And so the amount of power that you can, sitting next to the temple is awesome. You're still there, but getting there and go in it. So this was a little room at the back, and this was a sink. And we were all in there channeling like, oh, it was a healing room, and it had water, and it was this happened and that happened. And we got to see these different healing modalities that were through time and space. So again, the Stargates will do that. These are just a few other shows I've done in the past. They're already here on the channel. Please subscribe and click notifications, and please tell other people. Let's get a big community going here. These are some of my sacred friends. We're going to be having a sacred jaguar ceremony this year in a few weeks now. And there's Christian, my dear friend. This opens portals. This one happened to be at my house. This is right outside here on my patio. And we opened stargates and portals here on my land. So the sanctuary that I was drawn to create here energetically got that blessing. This is Michelle, our cacao goddess, who I've now asked to come and teach us some of the sacred feminine arts from Mexica, Mexican, Mayan, Aztec, and other cultures. She's a professional chef who also does sacred ceremonies. She's been doing my ceremonies for years. And we go in the sacred cave. It's the Guadalupe Cave of the Mother. And she grinds the cacao. She's made all these different treats. We have a spa. We rub herbs, and there's pre-Hispanic music. And there's to the right over here, there's the waters that we purify in. And there's so much going on in this Stargate. It's hard to describe. And everything about it is love. It's like literally going into the womb. And March, we were there, and one lady who's coming back again this March, all the way from Australia. She had such a profound healing with her inner child here during the ceremony. And then we each stay sitting here processing our beautiful, mystical experiences just on our beautiful little things with our treats and our cacao. And she was the first one to move over into the water. And she was over there by herself in the water, and she was swimming around and giggling and laughing and talking like a little girl. And it was echoing through the stalactites around it. And it was creating this vibration of joy. And it was opening these places within us to our child to be free, to play, to no longer have to hide, to know you are loved, to know you have a purpose, to know you have value, and you can play fully. So the jungles, the trees, everything. And trees are really big portals, especially if you go to big trees like the redwoods. They scared me. They had enormous portals between them. So thank you, everybody, for playing with me and exploring these mystical, there we go, these mystical experiences. I'm writing some books about. There's so many things that have happened to me and to other people. And I hope I'll see you. And if you're interested in one of the retreats coming up, please reach out to me. I would say that every retreat this year, at least one or two people jumped in at the last minute. It seems to be the flow this year. And then they just were like, wow, I can't imagine what it would have been like if I hadn't come. It was so meant to be. Everything is different, it's profound, and that's what I want for you. So go have a mystical experience. And if you'd like to come back in a few minutes, I'm going to go live again and see what Gaia would like to share. Thank you, my love. Namaste. You're so cute. Woohoo, Mornan. Oh my goodness. Namaste, my loves. All right. I can't tell when it stops. I don't want to cut you off. Seriously.